Hi, I'm author Martha Wickham. I love to write, so I wanted to read the first part of Circle of Roses. This is the third part in the Circle of Roses series. It's about Rose Cortez, a widow whose dead husband was killed by Frankenstein's bride. She is not the same Frankenstein's bride as the character in Mary Shelley's book, but a new character that I had invented. Her name is Tara Green. Rose is a psychic who owns her own shop and hires a new psychic named Fern James. When she is killed by Tara's zombies, that is when she must be stopped. Rose's garden of yellow and pink spring flowers swayed in the wind while she sat at her kitchen table playing with tarot cards. It was her favorite deck with fairies. Her red hair glistened in the sunlight. In the mail, she had found a bill for the mortgage on her house. It was over $1,000, and she was worried as she had almost spent all the money she and her dead husband Rusty had saved. All she wanted to think about was Rusty, so she went to her photo album and looked through his pictures. For their wedding, she wore a white dress with daisies. There were also pictures of their exotic honeymoon, where she wore a grin in the picture from ear to ear while holding a margarita. Those were the years. Her butterscotch psychic cat Muffin came and sat by her on the couch and cuddled. This made her feel so much better. He knew when his mom was in pain. She went on to look at old family photos. Her parents never divorced, and she had never planned to divorce. She dropped the photo album angrily. All because of Tara and her struggle, Rusty, her husband, was dead in his late 20s. Was Tara's love life all that mattered in the world? Rose then decided to visit his grave and drive by Tara's old gloomy house. Lying by her husband's grave, she wished they had a child. The year was 1980 and he deserved to live. She swore to herself she would never marry again. "I owe a lot of money on the house," she told his gravestone. "I'll have to sell the house and reopen the psychic shop." But in her heart, she didn't want to sell. As she lay there, the April heat began beating down, and she became uncomfortable. After rising, she stared once more at the grave and said, "Goodbye, I'll see ya," then headed off in her car to check out Tara's house. Tara was home, so Rose parked down the street and walked over to look in the windows. Nothing interesting to see. Just some dust-covered furniture. She ran to the backyard and looked over the fence. The shed was open, and there it was, the galvanism machine that led to her husband's death. Rose rolled her eyes in disgust and left, ready to change her life. Her plan was to move closer to work, hire people, and go through with selling her old house. It was perfect. The flowers seemed to agree, and the birds said, "Go ahead, it's okay." A change would be just what she needed to move forward. Rose arrived at her old shop and entered. It was dusty inside, with webs everywhere, so she made a note to bring her cleaning supplies next time. She began by putting up a sign offering a position for 3 psychics. The position would be on commission, and they must have experience. While straightening up, memories of Tara waltzing into her shop the year before came to mind, and she moved things around. The scent of flowers blew through the door. In selling the old house, she still needed a place to stay and had a list of rentals the realtor had given her that were just nearby. One was a little yellow house with a white rose garden. She had fallen in love with the 2-bedroom house and planned to purchase it. It would be the beginning of something beautiful. Her days were filled with cleaning and packing. When Rose's crystal shop was clean, she started the interview process. Fern would be the last one coming. While staring at the door waiting, Rose had a flashback of Rusty entering to visit her because he was in the area and wanted to go to lunch. They had pasta at a nearby cafe and chatted about her day at work. She stopped the memory when a brown-haired girl with a ponytail, green eyes, and overalls walked into the shop. "Hi, I'm Fern." "Is that your real name?" "Yes." "Because the last 2 girls I hired are going by Lily and Violet." "That's my name. Tell me about yourself, and then I'll have you read me with those cards." She sat down. My name is Fern James. I was born in Michigan and am currently living with my dog and Aunt Susie. I have a degree in parapsychology and some experience ghost hunting and telling fortunes. I've also helped battle ghosts more than 15 times. You're hired. Rose's face lit up. We work on commission here, and I also make my money collecting and selling crystals. That, and I'll be looking for a second job. It would be great if you could do readings with crystals. That shouldn't be a problem. You set your own hours for that. Will you show me how you read the cards? Fern nodded and shuffled them. She flipped the lover's card. This shows you may have love or had it. Next she flipped the death card. Is there a love in your life that's dead? My husband, I'm a widow. It looks like you won't find love soon. I am not looking for it. She grabbed her crystal ball. I sometimes read with this. You try it. Fern gazed into the misty ball. It's too foggy, she said. They saw the fog disappear, and as the image became clearer, they were shocked to see a group of zombies. Standing in front of them was Tara in an old white dress. The zombies began marching towards them. Some stumbled, some fell. Rose stood there, a worried look on her face. That's Tara, she exclaimed. We have to get to her house and see if she has these zombies. She ran to the door and yelled, Quick, follow me. Tara lives just down the road. Who's she? Fern asked as Rose rounded a corner. She is responsible for my husband's death. I must stop this zombie army. I'm glad you're here to help me, Fern. So am I, she replied. When they got to Tara's house, both were breathing heavily from excitement. They crept forward and carefully hid behind the fence while trying to spy into the backyard. There were no zombies to be seen. Rose knew she needed to keep an eye on her, though. They headed back to the shop as they didn't want to climb over the fence to explore further. When will I start? Fern asked on their way back. You can start as soon as you want. Just bring your psychic stuff to keep in the shop. I'll be getting you a key later, Rose replied. Fern was excited as she wanted to start immediately. I'll be there first thing in the morning. As soon as Rose opened the doors to the shop the next morning, Fern arrived with boxes of things she needed for readings. She started calling herself a psychic reader and ghostbuster and had cards made up. Within a few days, her business was booming, and the other two psychics joined the team. Rose kept her eyes open for Tara and her zombies, but didn't see any until one evening when she and Fern were alone in the shop and they heard a moan and then a dog barking. I'm sure I heard a zombie, Rose said. What has Tara been up to? They ran to the window and looked out. There were 3 long-dead zombies walking down the street to Tara's house. The 2 of them looked at each other, then ran into the bathroom and locked the door. I'm going to get to the bottom of this, Rose whispered. How can I help? Fern asked. This will be more difficult than a reading. They must be destroyed. Do you know how to kill zombies? She asked. Yes, just shoot them in the head, Fern answered. Rose nodded. Tara won't go easy. I want to get that galvanism machine from her. It's in her shed right now, but this will take more than one person. Maybe Lily and Violet will help. And you can't just call the police. They won't believe you. When I looked at her through the window the other day, she was different. Old and deader looking. Who knows how long she will last undead? She can't be that hard to destroy then, Fern said. I'll see what my crystals can do, if anything. Thank you, dear readers, for listening, and I hope you pick up my book, Circle of Roses, or any of my other books at www.marthawickham.com.